Oh, oh,
Hello, listen here, listen
Hello,
here.
hello.
Pop up in
Hey.
anytime. Anytime. It's
Yeah.
all good. Happy Super Tuesday.
yes.
Happy
Yes.
Super Tuesday.
Happy Super
Yes.
Tuesday.
Yes. Yes.
Get
Yeah,
out
this
and
is
vote
the
day.
day.
Yes. Get
We
out
say
and
this is
vote.
the day the Lord has made, and we're gonna rejoice in a few
The Lord
minutes.
is definitely made.
Hallelujah.
I claim the victory.
The victory
Claim
is
the
ours,
Yes.
victory.
right?
Our
Yes. Yes.
victory is ours today. We got to stay with this attitude, just smile, this connection of being joyous, having joy in our hearts and on our lips. This is where we got to be right now. We can't turn
Amen.
around now. It's so funny because
Turn around.
Vice President Joe Biden, soon to be president, hello, when he was out on the trail, he was saying that Congressman Joe Lewis, when they, prior to his passing, talked about this song, this hymn. And he said that I feel no ways tired.
My
I've
God.
come
All
too
right.
far from where I started from.
Yes.
Nobody told me that this road was going to be easy. But
Yeah.
hey,
He brought me this far.
he brought me this far. He brought me this far, and he didn't bring me this far to leave me.
Amen.
Amen.
So I
Amen.
am just going to connect with that because we're going to be joyous today and just know that God got us. And it was so funny that when they played we as Black people, we are just so funny because we churching all the time. All Joe Biden did "Come Too Far," and somebody put an organ in the background with
Oh
the
my
church
goodness.
organ
You kidding?
Oh my goodness.
on the video. I was trying to find it, but they added this church organ behind it, and it's like he preaching with the organ behind him. And I say, only us,
Wow.
only us. But
Hey,
no,
Mike,
it's
he was at my church he came in. They ran it for my church on Sunday.
oh
Oh,
really?
really?
Yes. So the pastor was like, we have a special message. And so then all of a sudden Biden comes up. So he's saying that same thing.
What?
So I'm like, you know what, go for it. Because Kamala, she and my pastor went to school together. So
Okay, good.
Wonderful.
Would you like to give him a shout out? Your pastor? Would you like to give him a shout out?
yes, the Reverend Matthew Watley of Kingdom Fellowship and his beautiful wife, Shauna Watley.
Oh wow. Amen to that. Amen.
All right.
And look who we have just joining us. Speaking of reverends, church. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, watch it. Watch it.
Watch it
Watch
now.
it.
We got the right Reverend Jamila Woods. Where you at, girl?
Yes, yeah. She right
Say,
there.
hold on.
Hold on. She's doing a balancing act right now.
Yes.
And yes, she's helping somebody as we speak.
Okay,
That's
no
a
worries.
superwoman
But
for
you know what? Yeah, but
That's the
she's always
superwoman for
juggling
you.
because her job, we already know what she's in. She's in the counseling field.
Yes.
She's in her field of helping people, helping the
Yes.
community,
Right. Right.
So that's what
Right.
she's doing now.
So when you do
We
that,
are
you can't
superwomen.
interrupt. You cannot interrupt
We
when you're
are.
serving, right?
That's
Oh, yeah.
right. That's right. Gotta
But
serve.
no, you got to serve, and this is what we're doing today. We're serving our community today. We're making it happen as we speak. And we want people to know that we're here because we want to continue to encourage people to go vote.
Yes.
So we
Yeah.
got to let
Go
people know
out.
we're on.
The polls are open, guys, all over the country. The polls are open. It's time to
But
go.
if they don't know the polls
Make
are
up
open
your
by now,
mind.
somebody need to wake up and come from behind that rock.
They're open. It's 12. It is 12:41 here in DC. So we know on the West Coast is open.
It's open. And you
It's
know what?
open.
This is the
Yes,
other
it
thing
is.
too. And so over 100 million people have already voted. So we just
Woo!
need everybody else
Yay.
to bring it home. Because that's still, believe it or not, that is still only about 68 to 72% of who
Wow.
voted last year. So today,
Wow.
really, we got to bring it home. So
Oh
all of
my
those
God.
people
We're
that
gonna
are
bring it home.
it's
But
time to
we
get
are
off.
far ahead of the game. That's the most important.
Yes.
People that had the faith and they knew it was going to be long lines. And just look at all the long lines. It's been long lines. Long lines.
Yeah.
So people, and it reminded me of, when you look at TV and you see the Africans going to vote, and you see everybody's out there, standing from miles, but they're in clusters. I mean, it was huge. So you can imagine all of those people standing in one line, at least 6 feet apart. So that's why it's going to take a while. We're going to have a long night. And, but thank God that we can do it. We've made it to this day. It won't be long before we get the results.
Well, let me share this. I feel somewhat guilty in the
Why?
fact that I'm so used to being in line.
Oh,
Okay.
no guilt here.
No, only temporarily, because I know I did my due. But I'm just saying, I'm so used to being in line, waiting for at least an hour to get in to cast my vote.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill and I voted about 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, okay. When I woke up this morning, I'm like, all right, what's the deal? We're supposed to be out here in line.
Yeah, well, we've been talking about this for so long. You just feel like you need to be a part of being involved with the people. And so you feel like, I need to be doing something today. I need to be out there.
Yeah.
I did contribute already, but I'm still needing to be in the atmosphere.
In the mix.
In the mix with the people. Yeah, that's what you miss. But you can go on out there, put your coat on, Peggy.
Yes.
Get on out there, girl.
Yeah, you sure
No,
can.
I want to be with y'all guys. I just got a text from Sharon Bullock.
On your phone.
She voted. Yay, Sharon. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then we have Renee Allen.
Wait a minute, hold on. What'd you say? Wait a minute, Linda. What'd you say, Peggy?
I said, I just got a text from Sharon Bullock. She voted.
Okay. Right.
Renee is in line, so she'll be joining us shortly.
Okay.
Oh, wonderful.
God, yeah, this is good stuff.
I was about to say that this is the first time that I actually voted. This is the first time that I actually voted using the box. I voted. I put you put it in the mail, and I went yesterday evening. That was my big moment because normally I would vote early because I don't like the lines. And at the last election that we had, I was in line for about 5 hours because that was when COVID first started. I totally forgot. There was so much stuff going on. Forgot, what am I voting for? Erica and myself, we stood in line, and here in DC, we went around 8 city blocks. The line was around 8 city blocks. So we went that evening around 6:30, and we didn't finish voting until midnight. And there were still people in line. So I never want to go through that again. Being in line.
That's incredible.
That was incredible. I've never seen anything like that. So I applaud those people who are out, who have been standing, especially in Maryland. I saw those people in Maryland and Virginia standing in line for hours, and they didn't, and around the country.
Yeah.
So
well, no one seems to be complaining. And guess what? God gave us a great, sunny, sunshiny day. Beautiful. Beautiful day. And you know, folk like to come out when it's nice and it's sunny, and it's, it just gives you this energy. Sun gives you energy.
Yes, it does.
And we need to draw from this energy that is being given to us today. And I'm grateful to see it because so many people are wanting, like we've been saying all along, ladies, a change. Yeah. They want to have a change, and there are people who are voting for the first time.
Yeah.
So God, that's why we say we got to keep the joy in our heart and the sunshine in our hearts, because this is where it's going to make a difference, that we stay connected, that we have the same energy, the same mind. We have to have that same mind and be able to, that we can come through this together. Yeah. And when they say we can get through this together, they didn't just mean the COVID. They meant the pandemic. They didn't just mean
about life.
Absolutely.
Life.
We can get through this together. And this is why we're joining today. We ask all of you all to just like our page, share, tell some people, get on. if they want to communicate with us today and talk about what their experience is out there, if they've been out there, what's going on in the street, how important it is that we come together. We need to just do this. We're doing our part to contribute as Four Sisters Live because we're here every Saturday. But today we thought it not robbery to say, let's get up and let's connect with everybody on the day that makes it history, making history.
Yes.
Making history, guys. So,
and you know why? The beautiful thing about this is that we didn't do a serious e-blast. We didn't share it to the world. We just decided we wanted to open up shop and just come in and have an open conversation about what is happening today.
Yeah, and I think that this is what Peggy, this is what this platform was designed. We are about the community.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So we're gonna be about the community. We got to do what we need to do to connect to to the community.
And why? Let me pull up the sheet here that listing the numbers we talked about.
Yes, ma'am.
The hotline
number.
Yeah.
Linda, what number do you have for Virginia?
For Virginia, I have 838-638-6827.
And Wyoming, what do you have for Maryland?
I think
because it's very difficult to read this sheet.
Gina, you know what? Hey, wait a minute. Let's go back. Go back. The number is 844-482-8683. It's 844-482-8683. Forgive me.
Okay, what do you have for Maryland, Linda?
For Maryland, I have 838-638-6837.
And then what do you have for DC?
That's 833-336-8683.
So these numbers are the Voters Protection Hotline. So if anybody out there that is tuned in and have had any difficulty voting, this is a number that you need to call to indicate that you had some challenges. Okay.
Yes.
Good job. Good job.
Right.
Yeah.
There's also
Go ahead.
If you get a chance to put it back up, I saw a nationwide number as well. Since the nationwide number is 833-336-8683. And we also have a Spanish number, 1-888-839-8682. I'm going to repeat that. 888-839-8682. That's your Spanish, Espanol.
Wonderful. Hey, we got one of our sisters showing up. I see Sylvia Garrett. Hi, Sylvia. Thank you for tuning in. Good to see you.
Hey,
We'll have more on throughout the day coming on. We're going to have some guests come in and drop by and, inform us as to what's happening and everything. Give us the lowdown, as they say, the 411 on what it looked like out there. I just would like to see anybody got their TV tuned in to any of the news to stay updated to these numbers as they starting to rise in terms of the election.
Let me tell you, I am tuned into CNN 24/7. I don't turn my TV off. Okay. That's where I go to get the real news. Okay, the real news.
Okay.
I don't want no local. Give me national news.
Get your national news so you can. Yeah, well, you want to stay abreast of what's going on across the world, across the nation, across this area, across the country. Yes, absolutely. And they're going to give it to us. They're going to tell it to us straight. No fake news there.
No, indeed. And you know who I love so much on CNN is my brother, Don Lemon.
Oh, he's going to tell it like it is.
He's going to tell it just the way it is, okay?
He's going to tell it from
I have my TV on now, and Don is on talking.
Oh yeah,
about the election.
Yes, he is. I'm watching it too.
Yeah. Well, as you know, this is like they've been saying again, ladies. This is the battle for winning of our souls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is about our souls being involved and coming back and gaining what we need to bring this country back where it needs to be. And this is about it, the battleground, you know, on that. And also, I would like for us to, and those who are going to be joining us, I want to kind of say this throughout the day and keep it in our minds that who are you voting in the honor of?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many of our ancestors, so many of our people we've lost, and they're not here to vote this year, this year alone, that we've lost.
That's true.
So I want to start out by saying I'm voting in the honor of my dad.
Yes, yes.
You know, who I did lose. And I mean, he's not lost. I know where he is in that sense. But the point of it is he's not here on this side of heaven, celebrating with his family and us being on the phone, because I'll be on the phone with him by now, talking to him and everything, you know. And I'm going to be honest, transparent about my dad, because some years ago I didn't know, because we were talking, this is some years ago, and I discovered that he was a Republican. And of course, I was like shocked at first when he told me, and then I was mad at him. I was mad at him because I'm like, dude, how can you be a Republican? You black. You're supposed to be, you know, we went through all of that. And he's like, no, I'm a Republican. I said, and so he talked about it, because my dad was a guy who didn't go along just to get along. He didn't go with the status quo. He went with what he knew that was going to benefit him. A businessman. He was a businessman for all of my 60 plus years. All of my life, my dad owned his own business. So he understood the nature of why he wanted to have what he needed to be a businessman, be a Republican, knowing that the money was sufficient for him to do for what he needed for his political belief.
Right.
So I did at that point, I had to step aside and say, but you know what? You're my dad. You're my father. And I can't just throw you away. I can't disown you. But I had to accept that that's exactly who he was represented politically. But we didn't ever have political talks after that. We didn't get into debates. It wasn't about that. You know what I mean? It was not about that. But at that time, guys, when if you're a Democrat and you're Republican, this energy wasn't going on like this. You know what I mean? It's a different kind of situation now. You're bipartisan. You know, it's just so different.
Yeah.
And so I know, like, my dad saying that he was a Republican, I believe, as many other Republicans, would not have gone for this.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? There's some standards and beliefs that you draw the line on. And COVID was one thing that I know my dad, and when he saw this on TV, and he was like, you know, he didn't want to go to the hospital that day. He just said, I want to stay home, because he knew within his spirit that he wasn't coming back home.
Oh.
He knew it.
How long ago was this?
My dad passed away April.
Oh, in April.
In the middle of the heart of it, of this. And he's amongst the numbers that we're talking about, the 200,000+ people. My dad is one of those numbers.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
He's one of those numbers. So yeah, so today I vote on behalf of my dad, and I just wanted to say that. And my ancestors is my grandmother and grandfather as well. But as of now, yes, today I'm voting on behalf of my dad, Rutherford Melvin.
Well, I'm voting on behalf of two people, and that is my dad. He passed away in 1986, and also my grandmother, who passed away in 2002. Missed them dearly. It's almost like they left us yesterday, but as you say, why we know where they are. We know they're in good hands. And if my dad was here, honey, he would be jumping up and down. You got to vote, get out, do whatever you got to do, but don't come back home unless you vote.
Yes.
So yes, I'm honored to know that, hey, we have to do what we have to do, because there's so many people who fought for us to have this day. And if we cannot stand up and represent, then something's wrong.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like the song says, this land is your land. This land is my land.
Is mine.
From
Exactly.
California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to this land is made for you.
For you and I. Yes, yes.
You and me.
Go ahead, girl.
Yeah,
Go
and
ahead,
you know
sing
what?
it, girl.
The thing is that, Peggy, like you said, and why, like you said, times used to be different. We were not as segregated as we were, or polarized, and there was still a sense of decency.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things that has just left. It's like no decency whatsoever. So I vote in memory of both my parents who are long gone. My dad passed away in 79, my mom in 2003. But not only for them, but also my family, because my family was always about decency first. So we were taught never to make a difference between people, particularly based on race or anything. And I remember my dad used to drive down the street, and we lived in a smaller town, and he would wave at everybody. Everybody didn't wave back. So one time I asked him, I said, Dad, why are you waving at these people back? He said, you do what you're supposed to do. Always do what's right for you, or what God is supposed to do. And you don't worry about anybody else. So that's how I lived my life. So today he would be so distraught to see the lack of decency in people and in this country, and in leaders that actually support this nonsense that's going on, and even aggravate it, right? Instigate it. And it's like, no, that's not what you expect from people who have decided to lead. So either you lead or you just get out of the way. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I voted in, because one thing about it, they always voted. And I vote for our ancestors, right? Who fought and died for us to have this right. So we have an obligation, and it's not. And this is what I said the other day. I was like, vote your conscience, right? What you want for this country, what you want for other people, and what you want for your communities, and the sense of righteousness and justice. Values are still important. And so I think we got to continue to vote our values.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Linda, who are you voting in memory of?
I am voting for my mom, my who's in heaven today, and my father. My father was back in the 1950s. He was one of the first Black firefighters, and of course, I never met him when I was very early. Yeah, he was here in D.C. I was surprised to hear that as well, and I know how, it's because of a day like today that he was able to be a Black fireman, and he died at a very early age. It was a lot of stress in that type of job for Black men that were firefighters. And if you go back, I just saw a documentary not too long ago, and they went through hell. So I'm doing this for him. I didn't. He died when I was 18 months old, so I never met my dad physically, seeing him, as far as knowing him. But of course, definitely for my mom, and my godfather. My godfather was a person. He was a Black Mason. So, the Masons, they always stood up, and he taught me a lot of values about, being a Mason, and they fought for the rights, and they marched for the rights of Black people. And so this is for my godfather, Kenneth Tony Lee, who died many years ago, and for my mom, because she raised me to go and vote. I couldn't wait to vote. I couldn't wait. 18 years old, as soon as I turned 18, I voted. And so I've been voting since. I just couldn't wait. So to all my ancestors that have gone before me and my family, all the military men that were in my family, all the military men that I know that have gone and left us now, they fought to be free, and freedom is not free. So we've got to do this. We've got to go to the polls. You've got to find a reason to vote. And I like why you said that, why, because sometimes you do. You have to find a reason. So if you do know, if nothing else, vote for somebody, one of your ancestors that you know went through the struggle for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing to me that we're still in this serious voter suppression,
Yeah.
It is amazing to me.
It is.
I am seeing these. I'm seeing what I guess what our ancestors, our forefathers went through. You understand what I'm saying, Reverend Jamila? Where they again have their knee on our necks, that they want to keep us backwards, going backwards, not to succeed, not to make it. And here we are at this time of our life, fighting to stay alive.
Right. I
Go ahead.
I definitely agree with everyone who talks about voting in memory of our ancestors. I vote also in memory of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and Sandra Bland and I don't know why I can't remember his first name, Elliott, right here from Prince George's County.
I think it's Keon.
I vote in memory of those who. No, it's not Keon. It's Lord, I can't believe I can't call his name. It's unbelievable. Dorothy Elliott Crandall, right here in Prince George's County, Maryland. I'm voting in memory of all of those people who can't vote now because their lives were taken from them in atrocious, unacceptable manners. And I'm voting today because, as I heard my sister say, we're in a time period where we are seeing huge voter suppression, where the people who are supposed to be leading us are leading us into riots and provocation and mental and racial and physical abuse. And so it is so important and selling, buying African Americans to support them, because they're looking at the condition of stars who can't afford, they're not getting business and they're not getting work. And so now I'm going to offer you money so that you can support me. And so I'm voting in memory of all of the deception that has taken place for so many years and so many centuries that just seems to have risen up again, all of these horrendous acts and mindsets and behaviors. And when you have a leader who uses racist signs very frequently and very blatantly, you all know this is a racist sign.
Yeah.
This is a racist signal.
Oh, yeah.
Do you all know that? Look it up.
Yes.
This is a racist signal. Yes, this is a white supremacist signal.
Constantly.
And our president has used it repeatedly during these debates and in conversations. And it is just very blatant behaviors that Trump supporters can go behind a Biden bus. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm talking about things that are taking place. But they can go behind a Biden bus and they can shut down streets right in Waldorf, Maryland, and New York, shut down streets to prevent people from getting to the polls. And I'm flabbergasted by people who don't see the problem with this. I'm flabbergasted by people who try to justify these behaviors that are extremely unacceptable and that are extremely harmful to who we are as a people. And it just ruins any fidelity of confidence in our leaders. And so I'm voting. I'm also voting as a pastor because I believe that Jesus Christ was the greatest social justice advocate that we had. That Jesus Christ walked around and stood against all of the things, the political leaders, the religious leaders of the time. And so I'm voting in support of change. I'm voting in support of authenticity. I'm voting in the support of people recognizing that our vote is the strongest thing that we have.
That's right. Were you speaking of Reverend Archie Elliott or something?
Archie Elliott. Thank you. I don't know why in the world I couldn't call his name.
Yeah. You know, it reminds me again of this story, and you all may have known and heard of this, and they already having a film out about it, of Otis Moss Sr. Otis Moss, check it out. Remember Reverend DeMel? Yeah. Otis Moss Sr. And then Otis Moss the third is still alive, his son. And then his son, Otis Moss Jr. And then his son. So the descendant has gone on and on. But the story goes is that their dad went out to go vote. And he walked over 6 miles to go vote. And when he got there, he had received a letter to say where he could go vote. So here he go off. These children were so excited. Go, Dad. Go vote. Go get him. Yay. He walks off clean, suited, hat on, shoes shine. This was a proud day. That I, as a black man, gonna make my family proud, gonna make his mama proud, because he can now go vote and get to the voting table. And this man tells him, sir, we're sorry, but your name is not on the list. Your name is not even on this list. And so he gives the letter to them and said, hey, I got a letter saying that this is where I'm supposed to vote. And the lady, she snatched it from, oh no, something went wrong, and excuses about the letter and the mail. Here we go, mail. Back then, something happened in the mail. Okay. And so he left there, just his head up high still, but just disappointed in the face. He walked another 6-8 miles or so to the place that they told him that he was going to be, and got there. And they told him, sir, you're at the wrong place. You're supposed to be at such and such a school, such and such a place. And he's once again turned around and he walked again. The last place that he went to, he got there, and the man came to the door and said, sir, the voting is closed.
Oh my goodness.
If you had gotten here 5 more minutes sooner, we would have let you in. So he walked away, and as he walks away, you see this white man walk behind him and walk right in. They let him in. But he kept going, and when he got home, he had to break the news to his family and his kids that he didn't get to vote. Story goes, he died and never voted. Never.
Oh no.
Had the opportunity to vote. So again, if we're going to vote in the memory of or in the honor of, Otis Moss, a man who never walked miles in his shoes and never got a chance to vote. So there's a film that's out for anyone, again, to look at the whole story, but that's the short of the story. But when we talk about our young folks talking about, well, I ain't going to vote, just think about the times where there are people who couldn't vote. They didn't vote.
I know.
And when did they pass the Voting Rights Act? Like in 65 or something? I'm not sure.
I think it was 65, yeah.
That wasn't too long ago.
It's in our
no, not at all. Right? Not at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's so much, that we're looking at, we can't go backwards. And a lot of the young folks said, we are not our ancestors.
No, we're not.
We're not our ancestors. No, they're not. And they are going to stand up and they're going to fight, and it's because we are now standing up. Never wanted you to speak up. We got beaten and hung for speaking up and speaking out.
Right, sure did.
Right.
We couldn't speak back and talk back and not stand up for yourself and your family. Oh no, that was definitely not going to happen. So this is it. We're just, Gina, what you gonna say?
I was gonna say, and did you see the incident that happened in Texas? It was in Houston, and it was so a lot of the Trump supporters were stopping the Biden-Harris bus.
Yeah.
So they actually stopped them in Austin, and they had to turn around and cancel the event. But when they got to Houston, they got to the hood, right? I won't say the hood. I'm going to say the black neighborhood. Guess what? They were turned back. the people were armed and they had guns and everything. And even the police supported them and they pushed them back and they said, you're not coming in our neighborhood with that crap. No. And so they pushed them back. But if you just think about, this is 2020 and you have this type of suppression going on. So see, they got to that neighborhood and they misjudged, just like you said, why we're not our ancestors. And so there was no turning back. And so they went on about their business, but that's going on all across the country.
All the time.
Your platform, you don't need to suppress. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to suppress. It's going to all work out for you. Your platform is that good. But if it's not, and you know it's not, then you're going to stop everybody from trying to vote.
That's right.
Yes. That's what I think people just have to realize. You got to think beyond the Reader Digest. You got to think beyond the tweet and see what's really going on, and then make your judgment off of that. Think for yourself. Don't allow somebody else to tell you what's right for you or what you believe is right. And so,
I believe if it wasn't that they felt threatened from winning,
you
wouldn't go through these measures of trying to stop people from voting.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, Juan, we got to give a shout out to Dante. Dante say, voted for my ancestors.
Yeah.
Yay, Dante.
Yay.
And then we have one of our sisters, Terry. Terry is representing. Hey, Terry, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Terry.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about it. Terry, if you have something to say, put it in the comments. This is a day that we're chatting and we're talking about things. So put it in the comments and tell us what you think and who are you voting in memory of? You know, just talk to us, you know?
Yes.
Absolutely, because we want to hear from you guys, because it's important that you all let us know how you feel today. What does this day mean to you? And how we've overcome, in spite of how they're trying to keep us back, we still have come a long way. And I think it's because they are threatening, because they don't want to see us succeed, guys. They're afraid that how many Black businesses have made it, have been started, how many things that we have done since then. And now we only because we have this leader in place. Because this country is better than that. We've come a long way, but because of this leader has presented a lot of the energy to being divisive and the hatred amongst us as people. This is why we're where we are. But we must stay looking towards where our help really comes from. My help has never been in him. Never.
Well, why I always wanted to, he talks about all the things that we're going to do, but it never came to fruition. So how many years is it going to take him to do what he said he's going to do?
Another 4.
It's not even happening in the next 4, because we're going to fix that.
It's a lie.
Doing other things. I'm too busy. It's just too busy.
Because it's all been about selfishness
and about him.
Yeah, it's being selfish, and not when you don't know how to do a job because you were giving up ample time to fulfill your position. And it's like anywhere else, take it from his own show, you're fired. They will fire you for not doing a good job, for not fulfilling your job. You're fired. You're just fired. And so you were on borrowed time.
Oh my goodness.
You were on borrowed time. You were on borrowed time. Because we're giving you the opportunity to do a job. You were interviewed the whole time to see how well you would do your job. and your job, you did not even qualify. Hello? Who's going to a job and get a job that don't qualify for the job?
Because he didn't get my approval. Okay.
You don't even qualify.
Hey, why?
Yeah.
Terry says, yes, voting for my mom and father who passed away over 25 years ago.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Terry.
Because we have to pull up that energy from our ancestors, Linda.
Yes.
We have to call forth these ancestors today. Call forth your name of your mom and dad. Call forth your name of your ancestors, of your grandmother and grandfather. Call forth their names. Ashe. Yes.
Ashe.
Call forth their name today because they are here in spirit.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned it. This is a good day to pour libations for your ancestors. That's a great idea. I think, you know, we should, when you said that, it just ran straight chills through my body because that is the way to communicate with our ancestors. So I'm so glad you said that because you got to pull them up, you know, you got to go to, you know, pour some libations to your ancestors. And we have to always remember to add when you're in trouble, when your mind is troubled and you don't know what to do, call on them because they are here. That is so important. So we need them right now. We need them right now.
We really, really do. We can't ignore that because of their fighting.
Terry says, voting for my ancestors and my young Black children. They are our future.
Yes. And this is why this is why we have to teach them now to go and vote and why they should vote. What the importance is of voting. At the same time, because there again, a lot of people, our mothers and fathers, they're still, you know, going in lines and standing even now, trying to go and vote, you know. And so we can't let them down because they understood. They understand the importance of voting. You know, when they were coming through the times when there was a white only and a Black only entrance.
Yes, absolutely.
And a white only and a Black only water fountain.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't even sit at the same table with them.
Yes.
You couldn't
eat. Know, hey, why? It's so funny you said that. I remember my grandmother worked for a well-known department store in Baltimore, in Towson, Maryland. And I noticed a couple of times she took me to work with her. And we did not go through the front door.
Mm.
I mean, we're talking about this now, but I'm playing it back in my head. We always went through the back door to enter the building, to enter the store. And this was back in the 60s. I remember that so well, but I was so young and I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know why we were going through the back way, but I noticed that other folks were going through the front door.
Peggy, I remember as a little girl, my grandmother worked in iron clothes for the white people.
Yep.
They would drop them off at my grandma's and she would iron their clothes and they'll come back and pick them up.
Mm-hmm. Well, my grandmother was a seamstress. And
so was my grandmother,
she was a seamstress and she would go to work, and many, many times I saw her with this green uniform, and you can see the tear in it from the many wash of her garment, right? But she went to work every day to make sure that her job that was required for her to sew and to hem and to do all these alterations for the customers. Okay. But I'm going to tell you one thing I do remember. On Sunday morning, when she went to church, my grandmother had the baddest hat, the baddest suit, the shoes that matched the purse. You couldn't touch her. You couldn't touch her. You might have her from Monday through Saturday, but when it came Sunday, she was a totally different person.
Same here.
Wow.
My grandmother was the first lady because my grandfather was a pastor. So I grew up as the only grandchild that was raised by them at the time. So I know about the church and how we had to dress because my grandmother made all of my clothes as well. So especially Easter. We'll never Easter go by. I had an Easter outfit on, my Easter basket kind of thing. So to see that my grandmother instilled values in me as a little girl.
Yes.
And I didn't have any sisters. I was like you, Linda. I didn't grow up with any sisters. I didn't have any brothers. I was the only child. I was the only grandchild at the time. So of course, I got the attention and everything. But I played by myself. I made my own little friends with dolls. Sit around and I would be talking and singing. Yeah, dolls. Absolutely. And I had my own tea set. You remember those little tea sets?
Yeah.
The tea cups and the saucers that matched. They were pretty much China-like. They weren't no, cheap thing. And so I had that, and I had my little tea kettle and pour like I'm pouring. I talked to them. But I made it happen for myself.
Yeah.
And as we grow up, you understand like that is still in you. How you still have to make it for yourself.
Yeah.
How you have to get around people who gonna listen to you, but understand you and have something to give you that's positive.
That's positive. Right?
That's positive.
Yeah.
Well, y'all guys know how passionate I have been about photography. Mm-hmm. And as we're talking and reflecting of my grandmother, I noticed that I would go back and look at pictures and I would never end any of the pictures. And it was because of the fact I was the photographer. Okay.
You were young?
When I was young, it was my grandmother who really, if we sit back and look at your roots, look at where what you're loving and very passionate about, where all that comes from. Okay. And I began to go back and look at things, and I realized it was my grandmother who got me inspired to do photography, to want to take pictures, because she would give me this little Brownie camera, and it was my job to take the family pictures. And then I would go back and look. I was never in none of the pictures. That explains why, right? Oh, hey, Sharon Bullock is in the house. Look at there, Sharon. Hey, Sharon.
Hey, Sharon. Hey, girl, what's going on out there in them streets? Talk to us on the chat. Tell us what's going on. Who are you voting in honor of today?
Yes.
Let us know.
Been putting it out there who our ancestors are and the reason why we're here today, be able to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
And Peggy, you're right. I remember those days too. You're always taking the pictures and that kind of stuff. You just never know. And I was just being a little bossy. I was the youngest. So I was always trying to take care of everybody else. But I was also, I remember 5 and 6 years old sitting at the kitchen table with my dad, drinking coffee, which I still do, and reading the newspaper because he read the newspaper every single morning. And I would be right there. So I started reading and all that kind of stuff early because I was the youngest of 9 kids. So they were always teaching me stuff so they didn't have to be bothered with me, right? So like so many years between us. So, it was like, oh my goodness, I got to take care of my little sister. And so, because we didn't have babysitters. Nobody. Right. We were
We were the babysitters.
I was going to say, I was a babysitter. Absolutely. Yeah.
Even my sisters and that had children that stayed home in the area, they never had babysitters. We were the babysitters. So I started babysitting at 10.
Yeah. Hey.
So did I.
Well, you have to know, I had 5 sisters and 1 brother, and I was the oldest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who was in charge.
Yes.
But you sit back and think about it, and begin to look at traits, things that have carried you through the years. And I have gone back and looked, and then wonder where do I get these leadership skills from?
Yep.
Okay. It was because of me being able to practice on my brothers and sisters. Being the oldest, being the leader, I took on responsibilities that they didn't have to take on.
Right. Exactly.
You follow me? So now I look back and I say, well, that's where I get this from, or this is where I get this from, or I get this from my mom, or I get this from my dad. We all can say the same thing.
Yes. Yes.
Well, you know, absolutely. And you have sisters, so you value, you know, sisterhood.
Yes.
You know, you really value sisterhood, and we can see why, because you have now become who you are as the founder, you know, of Sisters for Sisters Network. And it's so important today that we have sisters that we can connect with during this time.
Well, let me tell you, I got a call today, and it was a young lady who called who was a veteran. And she called because she found our information in a directory. So you never know who is watching us. You never know who's talking about us. And when I saw the number, it was not a number that I recognized. And I was on another call, and I was not going to answer it. So something told me, no, answer the call. And I answered this call. And this young lady called and said that she wanted to learn more about the organization. Okay. And we had the best conversation. I learned that she lives in Anne Arundel County. She is a veteran, a disabled veteran, and she has been going to a therapist, and the therapist has recommended for her to get out to meet other people. Okay. And she said she was going through this directory and found our number, and she wanted to know who we were, what we were all about. And you know, I had to extend an invitation. You better come on and connect.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was so beautiful.
Right?
And it made her day, because she was looking for an attachment, something that she could attach to, someone that she could have a conversation about. And it's not have to always be a negative situation.
Yes.
Okay. Absolutely. So, you know, I just pulled her right on in, had the best conversation. She might have said, I'm sorry I even called.
Yeah.
But no, we you know, that's about people who have, you know, been watching us. You don't never know. They say you never know who's watching. Never know who's listening, you know, and they are definitely, some people want, especially women, want something to be a part of.
Yeah.
You need to be a part of something, you know, that they can connect with and relate to. We just gotta, you know that they're out there. We just gotta grab them and bring them on in.
Yeah.
And you know, and there's so much negative stuff out there. There's so much negative stuff about women and relationships with women, because people are under the assumption that particularly African American women cannot work together, cannot survive together, that we're continuously all pulling each other down, which is not the case.
Yeah.
We support each other, right? And because we need it, because so often so few people have walked our journey. And sometimes you just need to be able to talk to somebody who's walked that journey. And when we look at women, and we often see the end of their journey, or we see them further along their journey, but when you get to talk to them, you'll realize that there were some rocky roads, there were some challenges that they overcame, and it helps, and it really speaks to, I think, the essence of who we are as people, as women, as individuals, that we can withstand so much and still keep it going. At some point, be able to be ourselves and recognize that we don't have to be that strong all the time.
That's right.
That when we are weak, we are actually being strong. When we can reach out and say, help, or I need you, or let me just share this with you, that's not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of strength.
Yeah. Exactly. But you know, the beauty of it is when we all come together, we're the strength for each other.
Yes.
That's what I love about this organization.
Yes.
You know, I don't tolerate any mess. Don't bring any junk to the front door. All right. Leave it right where you came from, but don't bring it in. And I think that's what has reason why we have survived that long is because we don't tolerate mess. You don't bring it in because we know what will happen once it's in I can't even talk. Once it's filtrated into the organization, you begin to start having problems.
Yeah.
So they already know right up front, don't bring it. And if it's only one person who understands what I am doing to make a difference in the community, that's the only one that I need. If everybody wants to think negative, keep it negative, but don't bring it to my front door.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's so positive.
Yeah, you put some things in place, you know, where women can read and learn and go by as it relates to the sisterhood, what we call it, the read affirmations.
Yeah.
You know, you have the affirmations that we read that go along with what it means, what Sister for Sisters Network means. And so with that, you follow that. If you can't follow that, that's in anything. You can't go to any organization and they have standards, they have rules, they have regulations, they have bylaws, they have what they need to go by to keep an organization going. Yeah. And this is what you have to go by. And if you're not going by it, if you can't go by that actually, then, you know, there's some adjustments that have to be made. You know,
now that you mention it, I wasn't going to bring this up until Saturday, but let me just share with you our new book cover. Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And we'll talk more about it on Saturday, but that's the whole premise of who we are. The whole concept of women coming together to share and to partner with each other. In this book, I was just taken back the number of stories of women who provided testimonies, and Linda was one who shared what the organization have meant to her and the value that she brought to the table to make a difference. Okay, it's not only about Linda, but Linda bringing something of value to support other women. That's the beautiful thing about the organization. And so I'm so proud that Karen McConnell Jones and Dr. Sharon Porter pushed the concept of doing this book. I have not read all the stories, but I'm telling you, the ones that I did read has taken me back because some of the things I had totally forgot that we did. And it's not all about me, it's about the organization because we've done this collectively to support each other. And they brought back some memories and things that I totally forget. So that's what happens when you get kind of close to 70, right? You kind of forget. But I'm blessed to be able to see it in writing of the beautiful things that we have done collectively as an organization. There are so many things that we want to do, so many things we're going to do, and we're not going to let COVID-19 hinder us to do the things that we want to do to make a difference in the lives of so many in our community.
It's true.
So I applaud all of you guys. I applaud you, Linda. I applaud you, Gina. I applaud you, Wyoming, Jamila Woods, all the sisters that make up this foundation that we have. And we can dismiss the myth that Black women cannot support each other because we can, and we've done it, and we can show it, and we represent.
Linda, I think you had something that you mentioned that you wanted to read.
Oh yeah, I was in my book by Dr. Claude Anderson, Brent Anderson, More Dirty Little Secrets. I was I looked up voting just to see what I could find. What's the dirty little secret here that we don't know? And I'm just going to read this on the woman's vote. And this is the non-Disney version. So I encourage everyone to get this book. Here it is right here. It's part 2, a historical book for us all to read. It says, while white women have full voting rights and privileges in 1920, the Black female did not get the right to vote for another half century. It says because her race was more disqualifying than her gender. So this is why we have to vote. This is another reason. It says the constitutional amendment was only for white women and only for the white race. So we have to remember that. So this is why so many of our ancestors have fought so that we can be recognized as Black women voting, because we did not have that right back in when the Constitution was written. So if you don't go out for no other reason, it's because, especially because I'm Black first, because we do have a vote and our vote does matter.
Yes. Awesome, Linda. Awesome.
Yeah. So Peggy, I know we were going to have a few people come on today and give us some information about what's happening in the voting in the community out there. I don't know if you heard from anyone yet.
Yeah, Dr. Renee Allen indicated that she is in line, but she's going to be calling in and let us know what is happening in her part of town. So we're excited. Also, we have Wala Bagay, who is a member of the organization. She's actually one of our board members, who is very active in the political scene here in Prince George's County. She will be calling in, or she'll be Zooming for a moment or two, okay?
Okay.
So, and then we also have a representative from Montgomery County, thanks to Dr. Gina Bell, Councilman Jawando. We're expecting him to call in as well, or come and represent.
So let's let them know that the links are out there. We may have to text them or call them so they can look up, because a lot of people are not looking at their emails right now. So let them know that it's already there, Gina and Peggy.
Yeah.
So they can go on and go straight to it. They may be looking for it. Yeah.
I think I just saw something from Wala.
Okay.
Okay, she says that I'm not sure if I can come on today because she is busy, but that's okay. We can walk this through. We're almost through. I just got a text from Lakey Faraz Cosby with thumbs up. She voted. Okay. Good job. All righty. So
a lot of people are still voting today.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of the votes, mail-in ballots, I didn't get my mail-in ballot.
No.
Some people, no, never got my mail-in ballot. And I called and I inquired, and they made the adjustment so they can mail it, and I still didn't get it. They did tell me due to the mailing system, it may not make it in time. However, I'm glad I did not wait to, see if it was going to come in the mail. I did an early voting, and I felt in my spirit to go ahead and do that. And I'm glad that I did, because I still didn't receive it. And there are people, even with the mail-in ballot, as we know, I saw where several people had went and mailed their ballot, and they were denied in the system because they didn't do something right. And they didn't know it. Yeah, and they did not know. They had mailed it in, and they got word that they were denied. And see, when you tamper, see, here we go, tampering with the mailing system, and that's fraud. You can't do that. This is what's happened. When this is all said and done, there are a lot of things that's going to be coming and unfolding about what has happened, even in the judiciary system. I mean, because a lot of things has gone wrong. A lot has gone wrong, and it's going to start. It's going to unfold as time comes. Yeah, because when you start talking about the mailing system, come on, this is the problem. that people were going to mail their ballot, and now you're going to tell me that it doesn't count, or it, you know, you did something went wrong. So we got to, those are the things that we wanted to speak to, because we have a lot of people, you know, that have taken the time to do that. And they have that's why I tell you, don't mail it in, drop it off in the box.
Yeah.
Drop off boxes, because but some of that may not have made it in the mail. And so I'm saying all that to say, if I didn't get my my ballot, how do you think people that mailed theirs in may have received or didn't receive?
And not only that, he wanted to prevent the election board from actually still counting absentee ballots after today.
Yes. Yes.
So, you know, that is what, to me, just reeks of fraud, right? And but not only that, it's just so against nature. It's just against so much that it's wrong. And so there's so much hypocrisy out there. That's what I don't understand. There's so much hypocrisy out there, and you just can't. We can't allow our country to go in that direction where that's acceptable.
Absolutely.
No matter what your point of view is, that's what I'm saying. No matter what your point of view is, it is your view, but we can't have a society that's totally unjust.
Yeah.
And you try to suppress people, you try to shut down the mail system, you try to take out the high-speed sorting machines out of the post office.
Well, Gina, here we go again. Another one we could check off that wasn't qualified to even run the mail system.
Yeah.
Another one. Just wasn't qualified. How do you put people in a position that's not qualified?
Yeah, so
and that's why we're having this problem.
Experience matters.
Put in there to destroy.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think we have our guests coming on. Let me bring in Councilman Will. Hold on one second. Let's bring him on in.
Oh, wonderful. I'm so excited.
He's here.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. How
welcome. Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
Well,
thank you for taking time out of your busy day to come and be with us.
That's no problem. It's an important day. I'm up in Germantown right now, trying to get people to make sure they know what they're doing when they walk in there. So I've been all around. So, but it's great to take some time to be with you all.
Can you give us a feel as to what's going on out there? Give us an assessment.
Let him introduce himself.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true too. Because look, we're going to jump right in, right, with that. Go all of that. Just you got the floor.
All right. Yeah. So I'm Councilman Will Jawando. I'm an at-large member of the Montgomery County Council. So that means I represent all 1.1 million of our residents. I will note I'm the only African American to represent the whole county, and one of two ever. So I take that very seriously, but I take it seriously representing everybody. So, yeah, so I can, that's who I am. I can go into what I'm seeing if you want. I don't know what specifically you want to talk about.
Yes, please do so.
Yeah, give us an assessment of what's going on and how important it is for us to be out there today, the whole game. Yeah, all of that.
Awesome. Well, yeah, no, you all know this is, and we always say it, but it really is the most important election in our lifetime. And, you know, I'm really happy to see so many people voting. Look, before today even started, 2 million Marylanders had already voted, and there's only 6 million people in the state. And so we're off to a great start. In Montgomery County, we have 50 drop locations where you can drop your ballot. We have 38 polling stations open this morning, or all day today till 8 p.m. And we've been seeing good turnout, you know, and it's a steady stream. And the good thing is we haven't been seeing lines. You know, I want to point out that people are like, well, why aren't we seeing lines? Two things. We've had a lot of ways to make it easier for people to vote. 2 million people have already voted. And we've had all these drop boxes. You know, you really shouldn't see lines in elections. We should be making it easier to vote, not harder. And a line like the ones you see in other parts of the country means that we haven't done our job to make democracy available. So I'm actually happy we're not seeing long lines. We're seeing a steady stream of people. But that's a good thing. So people are excited. We got good weather. This is good election day weather. And so people are ready to go. I will tell one story. I posted this morning. I was over at Blair in Silver Spring earlier, and Miss Davis, who's a senior citizen who I had never met, but she lives in the neighborhood I grew up in, the Long Branch area. And she said, "Oh, I've seen you on TV." And she's like, I voted for you. And she's like, and she had 2 canes. And I posted on my social media, and she was moving slow, but she made it up there. And that's just a testament to what people are doing to get out and vote.
That is so beautiful.
That's right. That's right.
So
That's
beautiful.
Yeah, we were speaking of that, Councilman, about how our ancestors, they made it happen. They got up. They know how important it is today. Our seniors have been getting up, going to vote. And it's just a wonderful thing. And if they can get up, we can get up.
Exactly.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
It's just no excuse. We can't make excuses about what we need to do and make this happen. But we want you to answer this question for us. We've been talking about today, who are you voting in the memory of?
That's a great question. I will say I've also seen, in addition, I've seen a lot of young voters, first-time voters too. So you're seeing it on both ends, which is great. When I voted early so I could be out today encouraging people. But when I voted, I was thinking of, that those 12 and a half generations of our ancestors, who were born, suffered, had joy, had pain, never saw freedom, never saw the right to vote, and died with the hope that someday we could be in the position where we are to cast our ballot and to be represented and to be heard and to be treated with equality. We know we're not there yet, but we've made progress and we have more to make. And I think about my responsibility, as you said, our ancestors. People forget that for 225 years, longer than the U.S. has been a country, we were enslaved as Black people in this country, and that legacy is part of our heritage, and they passed the baton to us. For 12 and a half generations, no progress, nothing happened, and then emancipation, but then Reconstruction, then Jim Crow, and we've had these battles, and here we are in another period of great turmoil where we're dealing with police violence and xenophobia and people talking about a second civil war and all that. And so that's why it's so important to honor that memory of that, all of those folks, here in Maryland, but across the country that did that for us. And so that's who I was thinking of. It wasn't an individual person. I think it was just the embodiment of our people that have pressed on for so long.
Wow, so beautiful, so well said. Thank you so much.
Let
me ask you, I have a question for you. Share with us your background so far as where you were born. You sound so well spoken. I'm not saying that's an exemption of our Black people,
no,
but I want to just take it and say that to you as a brother, as someone in Prince George's, not in Prince George's County, you're in Montgomery County. So you're brothers and sisters to us, okay? Share with us some of your background. Where did you go to school? That type of information.
Sure. Yeah, I grew up in Maryland, and I lived in both counties. So I say, look, I claim everybody. I used to live in Bowie. I lived in Beltsville and Prince George's County for a time.
I sense that. I sense some Bowie in you.
There you go. I was born. I grew up, and even when I lived in Montgomery County, I was on the line. I grew up in Langley Park, in right on the Tacoma-Langley crossroads, in that part of the county. And my dad is from Nigeria. That's where Jawando comes from. My mom is from Kansas, and they met in college and moved. He got a scholarship to a small school in Kansas and met her there. And then they moved east and settled in Silver Spring in the Langley Park area. And that's where I was born and raised, and was pretty low income growing up. Like a lot of people if it wasn't for some key forces, my mother for sure. My parents divorced when I was 6. I had some great mentors and surrogate fathers that stepped up for me in big ways. And so I went to college and law school at Catholic University in DC on a scholarship, and have been local ever since. You know, I've lived in DC, you know, in between DC and Maryland for my whole life, pretty much. And so I love this area. I think it's one of the best places in the country. You know, you got all the diversity we have here, and but I was very aware growing up, because of where I lived and my upbringing, that there were some people who had more access to opportunity than others. And a lot of that was dependent on your zip code, your level of education, the type of schools in your community, the type of economic opportunity and jobs in your community. And that was very apparent for me. My father struggled with being in and out of jobs for most of his life. And I watched that. And so I've always been really focused on how do we expand that opportunity to more people, because we all do better when we all do better. It's not just good for those people, it's good for the community when other people succeed.
My goodness, so well said. Yes.
Yes.
Well, you know, you are new to us, so to Dr. Gina Bell, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for coming on. Ladies, you have other questions?
I just wanted to say one thing. I want to say I'm so proud of you, Councilman Jawando. You are my representative here in Montgomery County, and I just adore you. But it's more than that. It's more than the adoration. It's really about the heart and the soul that you bring, and the authenticity. And I think understanding that we live in a world where all things are not equal, and that we all deserve access. And I think just hearing you speak over and over, and to talk about your story, and to talk about the difference that you want to make and that you are making, I think it says a lot about you as an individual, and you are a great representative of what leaders should be, and that is a public servant. And that's what we've lost in that public service. So I just commend you for that.
Thank you.
I appreciate you accepting the invitation and joining us today.
Well, thank you very much, and that means a lot.
Thank you.
And I hope you'll have me back. I hope you have me back, and hopefully we'll have some good news tonight. And the work, regardless of the outcome, we still have a lot of work to do. You know, and hopefully it goes the way we want it to go. But we have a lot of work to do. You know, there's a lot of people that are going to be upset either way, and we all have to live together, and we got to figure that out. So.
Yeah, so well said.
Right.
I think what's so significant about what you said, your closing remarks were, we all do better when we all do better. And I think when we get that mindset and we get that commitment to understanding that if any part of us are not doing well, none of us are doing well. And if we can cross that across racial and socioeconomic and ethnic and cultural values, that it would truly add to our quality of life, to who we are as a people. We all do better when we all do better. And unfortunately, we live in a time frame where people really are having that sense of supremacy and that sense of entitlement, and not recognizing that we all hurt each other when we don't recognize the value and quality that all of us bring to this world, to our lives.
That's exactly right. Yeah, well, please, you know, I'm easy to find. I'm just will@willjawando.com if you want to reach out to me, and I'm going to be up for election in 2 years, so I'll need some support then.
And you got it.
I was going to ask you when you're going to be up for election again. So we got to definitely have the conversation when that time comes. But for now, we want you to go out there and represent as you are doing so well. We thank you for your time, and we're going to come back for a post conversation when the victory is won.
Amen. All right. Y'all take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. You know, a young brother that's out there on the forefront, you know, making it happen. And that's what we need to see, you know, our brothers are out there, well-spoken.
Yes.
You know,
and see, you know, the beautiful thing about it, those are the individuals that you want to get behind and push, because he's a representation of us. That's what we love, and that's what we look for. So I'm there, you know, when he opened his mouth, immediately I knew that he would be somebody that I would want to represent and support.
Yes.
And let me just say one other thing too. He didn't talk about it. No need to talk about it. But he's married to a beautiful, beautiful sister. And the one thing that got me, I met him in church because I saw the interaction with his children. And you know, that just touches me. His beautiful little girls. He's holding his daughter. He's feeding her, and all this kind of stuff. And I just stopped to say hello. I didn't know who he was. And I've been attached to him ever since. And I worked on his campaign and that kind of stuff. But it was that father, that family man, right? And the way he treats, you know, the deference that he gives to his wife. And so he's just a really good person at heart. And I think those are the kind of leaders that we need. So
yes.
It doesn't really matter what party you're with. Because I remember a time when it didn't really matter whether you were Republican or Democrat. As long as you had the values.
Yes.
We may differ on how to get there, but we don't differ on the foundation. And that's what's wrong today. That foundation has been broken and cracked. And we got to get back to the foundation of who we are as people, as God's people. Then we can argue policy. But we can't do that when we don't even have the basics of humanity. And that's what is so hurtful in everything that's going on.
Yeah. Preach. Jamila, we got another one. Preach.
We started out
of respect for from our leadership. You know, our leaders that we have in place now, so many of them are so disrespectful. And that's because that leader is so disrespectful. So we do have to support those persons that's going to bring civility back to the office that holds and rules everything here in the United States of America. We are to be the example. We've always been the example. People look to us. They risk their lives to come into our country just to get respect, only to find out now that loss of respect and civility no longer exists in certain parts of America.
You said it so well, Linda, so well. My goodness.
It's just sad. It's so sad.
Jamila, were you going to say something?
I was saying that, you know, if you go back historically, African Americans all started out as Republicans. And did that. That is our historical background. We did that primarily because of our Christian faith and our faith in spiritual and moral values. And so I agree that, you know, it's not about looking at the party lines, but it's about looking at what best represents who we are as people and what and who best represents the services and the needs of all of the people and not just a specific group of people or a specific background.
And you know, want to on that note of saying, what is the young rapper? The actor Ice Cube. You know, there's a lot of controversy about Ice Cube and the fact that he, you know, went to Trump. Well, you know, we also saw he said he has an agenda, and he took that agenda to the Democrats as well as the Republicans. It wasn't the fact that he was joining either side. And this is what we have to remember. We have to have an agenda, and in order to know who to support and who's going to give us what we want and need in our community. So what you just said, Reverend Jamila, is so true. You know, we started off as Republicans, but there was a reason why we were Republicans at that time. And just like right now, you have so many independents. I looked on my ballot, I saw more independents on the ballot than I saw Democrat or Republican. So it just shows you now that people are changing. People are in the middle of, they want to represent their values. They want representation of their values, not what a whole group of people say, except their people. And we have to vote in a block like that. Yeah.
Well. It's amazing how we have so much fun.
Time
but
be
it
moving,
is now.
Right?
2:00.
And so I think we should definitely go and see where we are, catch up on things. If we need to come back, we can always come back and say, hey, you know, in the middle of the day where we are, just to check in. But this has been a great time for us just to connect today. Thank you, Reverend Jamila, for taking time to come on with us.
Thank you. Yes,
is there anything that you want to share today with us?
Well, I would love for her to close us out in prayer.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be a great thing. If say something and then you can close us out in prayer, that'd be a great thing.
All right. And I do thank you all for this opportunity. I apologize because, I've got other things going on and
no apologies.
Calls.
Okay. But, no apologies.
Amen. I just want to say that God is faithful and that we are people of faith. And so no matter what happens, the Bible says in Isaiah, the 60th chapter, am I saying it? Let me tell you the scripture because I may be giving you the wrong scripture. In the year that King Uzziah in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord. That's what the prophet Isaiah said. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. And what he was talking about was the fact that there was chaos going on the earth at that time, but he recognized that the Lord's train still fills the temple. Mm-hmm. And God is looking for those of us who are a remnant to just, his people call by his name, to humble ourselves and pray. Turn from our wicked ways. And all of us have to really seek out what those wicked ways or what those ways are that have strayed from what we know to be true scripturally. But all of us, God's people, have to come together no matter what the outcome is. He is looking for that remnant that's going to come together and trust and believe that all things truly do work together for good to those who love him and are called according to his purpose. I believe that I share with sisters who love him and are called according to his purpose. And so I trust God. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I trust God. Amen.
Yes. Amen.
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 Amen. Hallelujah.
It's time to have church now.
Hallelujah. Let's close with prayer. God, we thank you and we praise you for this Sisters for Sisters Network Incorporated. God, we thank you and praise you for sisters who have a mindset and a heart to collaborate and work together to make sure that your kingdom come and your will be done. We thank you and praise you, God, that we do believe in the power of prayer and we are unapologetic about it. And God, we humble ourselves and submit ourselves to you. Pray that you would have your way in our lives first, that we would be those role models and those examples that would let the dying world know that there is indeed a living Christ. And in the end, we win. We thank you for it. Thank you for this time together. Bless all of those who watched us live and those who will watch us later. God, we give your name glory, honor, and praise. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. And you all continue to just make it happen and let's go get them. Let's go.
So what time is it? Right.
It's it's time for you to walk in your purpose and prosperity. See you sisters later on. Love you guys.
Love you. Bye-bye.
God bless you.
Bye.